Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm back with another VOD analysis, this time going over Serbian film versus young Quaff. This is going to be split up in, this video is going to be going over two different YouTube videos because they split the VOD into two parts. This first video is just game 1, and then they lost game 2 somewhere, and then the next video will start in the middle of game 3. So we're going to start going over that. The first thing I just want to talk about before we get into the set itself is that this VOD is interesting in that I'm taking the perspective of Serbian film because he's the one who asked me to review the VOD. But this is the first time that I've done a VOD analysis where the player from whose perspective I'm looking is on the side of a very clearly losing match. So far we've looked at Ivy versus Sabre, which is a pretty even matchup, and we've looked at Marth versus Ivy, which is positive for Marth. But this is a matchup that is not good for Icy at all, because Ivy is quite good at camping out climbers. She's very good at splitting them up because almost all of her moves have multiple hitboxes that can send the two climbers in different directions. And it's just generally considered to be a very positive matchup for Ivy. So a lot of this video is going to be going over what can Serb do to mitigate that disadvantage state, what can he do to maximize the punishes that Icy's are so well known for, and how does he make this matchup that is considered to be one of Ivy's best winnable for the ice climbers. So let's get right into it. Okay, so they go to Smashville, which is pretty neutral stage. And right off the bat, Serb does something really good there, which is, well, there's two good things there and then one bad thing that I want to cover. First of all, I really like going to the platform and wave landing here, because you can see, let me go back a little bit more so you can see the razor leaf. Basically, this zone right here is really bad for ice climbers. Ice blocks, when thrown at the same height as razor leaf, so like if you do grounded or short hop, they'll hit this razor leaf and get sent back. Doesn't matter if there's one or both ice blocks, razor leaf will always win and keep going forward. So, in general, that's not a very good trade for Ices for all these reasons. You will still get hit by the razor leaf and your ice blocks do effectively nothing. And so what Serb did, he did a really good job of recognizing that and not being in that horizontal, or not being in that vertical zone at all. Instead, he's a little bit higher, and he goes so that the ice blocks hit Quaff, and he has positional advantage, approaching while Quaff is getting hit and dealing with shield interactions. So then he comes in with the down air, which is good, and so he already has damage, he's already made progress. The other thing you could do to maximize this punish is obviously Ices are quite good if they get a grab near the ledge, and Quaff is very close to the ledge, so a handoff would probably be death if Serb didn't mess it up. And so Serb goes for a pretty classic panic option for Ivysaurs, which is he goes for this down tilt, and then because, let me go back a little bit so you can see, so he pushes them out, and then here at this range, he knows that he can go for another down tilt and he'll either tipper, or they'll be just out of tipper range and he'll get first hit only, which puts them in kind of a stagger animation. So either way, he's safe after he gets the first one and pushes them back. But on the first one, Serb has plenty of time to crouch cancel the down tilt and wave dash and grab. So something to be keeping an eye on for the future. When he does that panic down tilt, unless it's at tipper range or further, you can punish him for it. But either way, so Serb takes stage control. There we can see Razor Leaf doing its job super well, beating out the Blizzard entirely. Yeah, and that was really good from Quaff, recognizing that CPUs do not DI well, Nana does not DI well, and just taking his opportunity to get really a very quick death on her, which removes a lot of the threat from Ices. Okay, so that was really nice there from Serb, but he got grabbed for it. His Sopo's actually, I think in general, has the right idea. It just, there's sometimes where he overcommits a little bit of missed spaces. That was a godlike recovery. Down smash, I want to talk about down smash for a second there. Down smash in general, covers that every day of the week. If you go out, god damn it. YouTube hates me, so I'm trying to do the frame-by-frame thing, and it's not really working. That's why I'm, like, just clicking around. So the spacing here is fantastic. Down smash hits there. He went out and then faded back in at a timing that Quaff did not expect, so that he was able to make it back towards the ledge, because typically down smash will cover every fade there, which it does if released correctly, and Serb just mixed him up, changed his fast fall timing and drift a little bit so that Quaff wasn't sure when he needed to release, so he was able to make it back to ledge. So really good stuff there. Okay, now he's back in neutral. Like the dash tag to fair there. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. Good job with the down smash out of shield, recognizing Ivy's lack of safe out of shield options. Yeah, and so there, he does it again. He did that full hop B reverse ice block, which again keeps him out of that horizontal range where Razor Leaf is, which is really good for him, because being in that range and trying to use ice block is a terrible way to lose that matchup as Ices. Yep, Quaff doing a really good job right there. I love that reverse back air that he did, because back air, I'm not going to go back and show it, but back air's reverse hitbox is really easy to hit for a reverse hitbox. It extends pretty far in front of her, and so, and a little bit behind her as well, and so it's pretty easy to split them up and send them in completely opposite directions the way that Quaff did there, and then obviously you capitalize super well against Ices when you get that. Okay, I like the wave dash in, jab down smash. That could have been really sick, because I think he wanted the meteor and then attempted to still make it work by trying to drag Quaff down with him. But Quaff was able to get out at that percent, so he just kind of killed himself. Okay, so he had stage control and then went in a little bit. Okay, so he got the grab there because Quaff did a super unsafe Razor Leaf, but in general, Serb is really struggling to find how he's going to get through that Razor Leaf. And that side B worked pretty well there. If we go back and show it again, I think this is before it. It might not be, though. Yeah, I don't actually think that it was. So if we go and find the side B, which is somewhere... Oh, there it is. So if we go look at the side B, side B has two properties to make it useful in this matchup, because I talked to Serb a little bit about it before I recorded this. The two properties it has are, it has better horizontal aerial mobility than Ices do normally. So he covers a little bit of horizontal space moving this direction towards Ivy faster than Quaff was probably expecting. And then the last hit pops up, or in this case it knocked down because of the percent that Quaff was at, which makes it not super crouch cancelable as long as you're able to hit him with the last part before they crouch cancel the rest and get a punish out. Yeah, I like that. Quaff did what I talked about a little bit in the Jags vs. Kala VOD. Really good job of recognizing the risk-reward on up B and knowing that Ices couldn't punish him there, so there's really no risk in going for the up B in that situation. Yeah, so right now, Serb is really struggling to find an answer to Razor Leaf. That's really what's disrupting his neutral and making it difficult. Okay, he does manage to save Nana there, but yeah, Quaff did a really good job of getting in there and disrupting the up B animation so that he was able to up B again, but he was forced to give up Nana in order to make it back. Yeah, that's the Ices classic. You gotta grab near the ledge and they're dead. So that's what I was talking about a little before. That's what you need in this matchup to make it doable, because as we've seen so far, neutral is really rough. He doesn't get it again, I think, yeah. Had he gotten it again, that would have really helped even up this match. But still, he gets a good amount of damage with the double fair. I don't know if you could do something like ledge dash, turnaround grab, but if not, that was a pretty solid punish. And then called Quaff out again. He's gotten 2 stocks now with that down smash, because Ivy doesn't have super fast out of shield options that don't involve roll. Good combo from Quaff. But yeah, so basically Ivy doesn't have ton of options out of shield that aren't roll or aerial, which still either puts you in the you're vulnerable right before the roll makes you invulnerable, or you're in jump squat. So either way, that down smash works pretty well because it stays out for a little while. So let me just switch to the other VOD. Like magic, we've gone from the end of game 1 to somewhere in the middle of game 3. I don't really know what happened to this VOD, but that's what we're working with. So Quaff is now up 2-0 and up a stock in game 3. Yeah, I really like that up air. That up air from Sabre is actually super smart, because one of the things that people struggle with against Ivy a lot is figuring out how to deal with the mix-up between Ivy just falling normally and up airing to the ground, which makes her fall obviously a lot faster. Sabre does a really good job, because instead of trying to wait and hit Ivy as she comes down, when there's going to be a super different timing, if he tries to wait and Ivy would up air to the ground and be around here now, then if you didn't up air and you just fell normally, you'd be like here. So it's very difficult to cover both if you try to wait and hit Ivy as she gets closer to you and you're on the ground. So what he does is he goes up, you'll see in a second, and he hits Ivy before it really matters. Hits him there. Oh no, never mind, I was talking about an interaction that happened before. Let me go back. I promise I'm not terrible at this. Yeah, so he gets there. Basically, right now, Quaff, no matter what he does, even if he does something like double jump up air, it's not going to move him high enough, fast enough for him to escape that up air. So it covered pretty much everything there, which I really like, and then forced Quaff off stage. But unfortunately, unfortunately for Sabre, Quaff is doing a super good job of using Seed Bomb to disrupt the shenanigans Ices can do to always have a climber on ledge, because at some point that requires having Nana on stage and not invulnerable. And even though you can get her back to ledge with nothing interfering with her, Seed Bomb does a really good job interfering with that. So he's doing a good job of that. Yep, down throw up air, closes it out. So what just happened there is something else I want to talk about in this matchup. Is another reason that it can be difficult a lot for Ices. So Quaff just did, he up aired both of them and got sweet spot on both of them, and it sent them a little bit different places because they were different. The two climbers had different percents, but you'll notice that he healed, I think, about 12% off that up air instead of the typical 6 or 7, because he hit both of them. And that's something you can do against climbers. You can get credit for hitting both of them. Credit, I guess, in the term that I would use it, but basically solely being charged, healing, whatever you'd like to think of it as. It counts twice because you hit both of them at the sweet spot. And that can really help with building up beam really much faster than you would normally get it. And that also makes it safer to burn beam, which typically resource IVs are pretty conservative with, because you don't have to kill Sopo with it. If you get Nana, that's still a valuable use of beam, because you get it pretty fast in this matchup, and now that you're at no risk from getting handoff to death at 0. So just something to keep in mind as well when you're watching this. Interesting reverse grab, okay. Yeah, that'll happen. Basically, so what you want to do there is you need to buffer roll out of the up air. You were in hit stun, and then you weren't in hit stun, but I think you thought you were and still stood there. After that Tipper fair, I want to talk about that real fast. So Quaff does Tipper fair on Icy Shield. That's laggy, but it's at a weird and kind of awkward angle to punish. What I would recommend doing, because a lot of IVs will do this in a lot of matchups, not just Ices. When he does this, I would recommend, for Icy specifically, Wave Dash out of Shield up tilt will catch Quaff as he's coming down. Because typically what you'll see is either that fair, at which point, if you've Wave Dashed to below him, let me move him a little higher. If you've Wave Dashed to here, fair will not hit behind him. It hits basically this whole arc, but not beyond that. So if you've made it to here, then that up tilt connects cleanly. If he tries to come down with Nair, which is the other thing that you typically see, Nair is negatively disjointed, it will lose to the up tilt, which will do... Up tilt does a kind of stupid amount of damage with double climbers, so either way, still a positive trade for you. So just something to keep in mind when you get Tipper faired on shield like that, because Quaff does use it a fair bit in this set. Okay, so we see a little bit more of that interaction I was talking about before with the just trying to not be directly horizontal with Razor Leaf, and then it pays off super well there. So he gets one grab from center stage, does the frame perfect handoffs to get him to the ledge, and then fair spike. So really good job there, which evens up the game. And then Yeah, now he's looking for a little more stage control. I like the Blizzard Wall when he's up close. Blizzard loses to Razor Leaf, so you don't want to be using it as a zoning tool, really. But it is good up close when Quaff is trying to come in with Nair, or go in, we're going with a grab or something like that. Really anything at melee range, I like Blizzard as an option to stuff it out. And then Serbian's doing a good job of being annoying with these ice blocks, even though it'll lose if Quaff decides to hard camp with Razor Leaf. It does make it more difficult for him to zone at kind of those mid-ranges, which is definitely something that he wants to have in the matchup. Doesn't do it again, does he? Okay, doesn't quite do it again. Gets the same setup to the ledge and then drops the actual handoff. And then you can see there, because of the seed bomb posing such a threat, he just chooses to back off on the edge guard and doesn't really try to do anything. Yeah, and then Quaff kills himself. That's really not much to say about that. Okay. Quaff misses the SVI on the down airs, but I think was probably trying to SVI on that last one, which was the F smash. And then just kind of stands there and gets grabbed again after being no longer in hit stun. Like he could have buffered roll or something and just stood there, which is why he got re-grabbed and then Terry Spike. So, good job Serb for capitalizing on the situation there and closing out the game. And then Quaff takes him to Battlefield, if I'm remembering. I'm just gonna... oh, there we go. I didn't need to fast forward. Yeah, so they go to Battlefield. A little bit of a different interaction from PS2, where it's in Special as well, where it's just flat and you interact a bit less with the platforms. Super ballsy fair there, and then he gets the tech chase. Nana does back throw instead of setting up for the handoffs, which I don't think was under Serb's control in that situation, but I could be wrong because I'm not an IC specialist. I really like the down air there as a combo breaker. That was something I think you probably could have used in earlier games as well. There have been a lot of times where Quaff has used up air to call out your landing, but it hasn't really been true. It's just been a call out because you didn't think you were going to do anything about it, and Dare is a great answer to that. Okay, there would have been... in general, I haven't really been talking about Quaff's punish game because it's been quite good, but that is something that I do want to talk about right here. Is he's been throwing out some up Bs in relatively non-risky situations, which I think I'm a proponent of. And then in this situation, he knows that Sopo's at around 85, 86. Nana will be at a higher percent than that. It's pretty common, and then also just from what we've seen so far this game, he's been being around Nana. So up B will definitely kill a CPU that's not DIing. And instead he goes for, doesn't even go for up air, he goes to down air to hit her back to stage, which is not really a good option. Because up air has the potential to kill if you think that Nana has high enough percent. Up B will almost definitely kill even if Nana only has the percent that Sopo has. And typically she'll have higher percent. So down air definitely not the option that I would say is optimal in that situation. Just something to keep in mind. And then Serb gets her back. Yeah, and so now that basically doesn't super come back to haunt him because he hasn't closed the stock out yet. But he could have killed Nana, and then it's him against Sopo. And so that's potentially going to be really costly for Serb in this game. So one of the big things I would definitely work on is you basically have chosen at this point in the set to not edge guard. Between the Razor Leaf and the Seed Bomb, you were really struggling in the earlier games to actually edge guard him consistently without getting Nana caught by a Seed Bomb or something like that. I would recommend maybe either working on your edge guards in general, or just being willing to let Nana get hit by the Seed Bomb and then punish with Sopo, because Sopo can definitely still punish the ledge hop animation. You can do something like ledge dash on down smash, or just short hop up air, short hop back air, off the tether hop, depending on how much time you think you have. But definitely might be something to consider, so you're at least getting something out of putting him off stage. And then yeah, nice handoff to face spike there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that was interesting. So what happened right there is basically Quaff went for the Ivy side, which is where you hit, you do the up B just out of the range where it would tether. Had he been just a little bit higher, it would have put Ivysaur in the range where her tether actually grabs the ledge and she gets into her whole tether hop animation. Because he was just a little bit lower, that does not happen, and the hitbox spot B comes out and it hits whoever is vulnerable and stage bites them. Sabre did the correct thing in this situation. Anytime an Ivy tries to do that, the second they leave the range where their tether will grab ledge, you want to buffer roll so that they can't Ivy side you. And Sabre does that, but because Nana acts basically a little bit after Sopo does, he rolls and Nana hasn't begun to roll yet, which means that she's still on ledge and Quaff manages to up B Nana and not Sopo. So just to kind of explain what happened in that interaction, you can see Quaff is really not a fan of it. As a side note, Quaff's facial expressions are fantastic in this set anytime he gets grabbed. Highly recommend checking them out. Yeah, so again, you just kind of back off, let him come back on stage, which is not a huge problem because right now you're up a stock. So your biggest concern is you don't want to lose Nana to some shenanigan with her getting seed bombed. You're just kind of playing it safe. And then again, you go for the combo breaker there, which I really like. Okay, so you have Quaff. Quaff has been cornered for pretty much this entire stock. He's been in one corner or another, and he's switched around by using the platforms a couple times. But this is the first time he's really had stage control. And he's doing something with it, but he's not really getting super huge openings. Okay, so that had the potential to be something. That, I'm going to go back again and talk about Quaff, although I've been mostly trying to talk about Sabre. That back air should have been an up B. When you get that kind of a pop-up, that can absolutely be a jump back, turn around up B. And that back air is a little bit safer, but also you don't really get as much off of it. And the up B is a confirm at that percent, so that would have closed out the stock. And so now with the ice block zoning, it's actually a completely different game because even though you're losing the Razor Leaf, all you have to do is hit him with, one every few, and to get to the job done. And then here, this is something that a lot of Ivies have as a bit of a lazy ledge habit. They do that. They do the super high Razor Leaf off ledge instead of doing it a little bit lower. I'm trying to go back because the manual button to go back a couple frames isn't working. But basically, he does Razor Leaf and it comes out at this height, and then Sabre just wave dashes under it and down smashes, which also puts him in the crouch animation. So he just goes clean under it and down smashes. It is possible to do Razor Leaf a lot lower to ledge, and it'll lower after you jump from ledge. But a lot of Ivies just are lazy and do the fast one. The upside of doing the fast one, although I don't think this Quaff was going for, is that you can waveland after. Basically, if you do Razor Leaf as fast as possible, you can waveland on stage after. But that's pretty tight timing, and I don't think he even did it fast enough for that, so he just kind of picked the suboptimal option there. And then gets down smashed. So now it's game 5. It was Quaff up 2-0, Sabre just 1-2, which we just watched, and now we're going into game 5. And you can see Quaff picks FD. So he goes for a bit of a different dynamic than he did with going to Battlefield, where he was trying to use the platforms and then found they weren't really working to his advantage, and he was primarily finding himself cornered underneath the side plats. So now he goes to FD, presumably in the hope of using Razor Leaf to beat out ice blocks and just kind of play the zoning game that makes Ivy really effective in this matchup. So let's see how that plays out. Okay, so he goes, he probably could have gotten dash attack after the second down tilt there, because the Sour one pops up a little bit and then works out well, but either way, he got himself a little bit of damage with the down tilts. Yes, and now Serbi's actually doing a really good job of using Ice Block at different heights, because if he does it at a full hop height, he covers two different options, basically. If Quaff tries to jump in with something, and he jumps below Sabre, then he gets hit with the Ice Block, obviously. If he tries to do short hop Razor Leaf, the Ice Block will do one of two things depending on how depending on how Quaff fades. If he chooses to fade in with the Razor Leaf, then he'll actually just get hit as the Ice Block falls onto him. If he fades back, then the Razor Leaf comes out later and won't hit the Ice Blocks as they're falling, and then the Ice Blocks will go below the aerial Razor Leaf because it's not done at the lowest possible height, and then it's still hitting Quaff. So Sabre's doing a super good job using that full hop ice block to full effect against short hop Razor Leaf. Just a nice little interaction I wanted to point out. Yeah, recognizing that Nana was dead there, and then pursuing the advantage on Popo worked out well and closed out the stock. That was a really aggressive fair from Serb. I don't think Quaff saw that coming at all. So you see, we haven't really seen this dynamic quite so much in this set up until this point. But Quaff really started abusing Synth now that he has the stock advantage. He doesn't really care if he's getting hit by an ice block for 2 or 3%. If he's also able to Synth, oh, that was really smart. Knowing that the seed bomb there was gonna hit Nana, so at the very least, Serb wouldn't have been able to get a handoff setup. He would have just had to go for whatever down throw combo he could get with Sopo. But yeah, Quaff definitely abusing Synth in this matchup now that when he has the lead, he's willing to take the space that FD gives him and run away with Synthesis. Because like I said in my EV training video, Synth equals lasers, especially on FD. If you're able to run away in Synthesis, then that helps a lot. But Serb doing a super good job right now. I don't know if that's actually a combo, if that was just a mess up. But Serb in general doing a super good job right now in neutral of using Ice Block to get around Razor Leaf, and just generally doing a much better job than we saw in the first couple games of dealing with Razor Leaf, although just there he got called out for it. But that was fantastic, recognizing how fast you can act out of getting up aired, just like I was talking about in Game 1, and really abusing that to hit the down smash, because Quaff was not expecting him to act as fast as you're technically able to. Clean edge guard from Quaff, which closes it out, but now it's 2-2. And now we see Quaff doesn't have that option to retreat away in Synthesis because he has Beam. So the dynamic changes a little bit in that now Quaff has to approach a little more. Yeah, so he uses the fair to challenge Ice Block. Presumably wanted the pop-up up air and was a little bit too slow, which is why he gets Meteor instead. That was a super lazy. He could have dashed in and gotten like the beam as a confirm. Just threw it out there, and then Serb jumped into it. So something to keep in mind, Serb, is that in that situation, you can pretty much tell he didn't dash in at all. So you have to jump into it for that to work. So now, really good job again with the full hop ice blocks. That's really been the theme of the set, is Serb using those super well to counteract Razor Leaf. And generally IV zoning tools in a way that you don't see often in this matchup. Yeah, so he retreats back again, not really willing to risk edge guarding, which is something that I do think could absolutely be improved upon in this matchup, because generally edge guarding is a really good way to make an advantage state against Ivy turn into a stock, or at the very least into more damage, and so letting Ivy just come back to stage really hurts. I don't like that there from Quaff, that decision. It's super easy to go out there and just like up air Meteor Nana, but instead he let her come back. And when you're up a stock against Ices, your only goal is to kill Sopo, because it doesn't matter if they take your stock, they don't have Nana anymore, because there's no potential for those handoffs at super low percent. But it doesn't really matter. He's up a stock and then some. Gets called out with the down smash because his up air is negatively disjointed, so it does lose in that situation. But I really like the fairy seed bomb there, recognizing that up air won't hit. And then, yeah, reverse back air, gonna close it out. Okay, so a couple takeaways from the set overall. Obviously, the interaction between Razor Leaf and Ice Block was something that I really tried to stress. It was something that is generally considered to be very much a losing interaction for Ices in this matchup, but he made it work really well by using grounded Ice Block and full hop Ice Block to work around the horizontal height the horizontal range that short hop Razor Leaf covers, because that was really all that Quaff did. He never mixed it up with full hop or grounded Razor Leaf. The main things that I would say to improve on, because this was a pretty close set in general, is I would just say clean up your punish game in terms of two things. The first is your handoffs. Obviously, there were some handoffs that were fantastic and led from center stage all the way to fair spike, but there were also some that could have been the difference in winning and losing games, where you would either drop the handoff or you would get him to ledge and you got the pop-up hit of fair instead of the spike. So just improving consistency on that always helps. And then, like I was talking about, improving your edge guarding as well. Even if it's just being willing to accept that Nana's going to be stunned through the seed bomb, grabbing ledge with Sopo, and then ledge dashing on with down smash or something like that, it's still a better punish than nothing. And probably a better trade for you overall than just letting Ivy take stage again. Other than that, I would say working on... You did a good job generally. You got quite a few crouch cancel down smashes that Quaff was definitely not ready for, and you did a pretty good job of acting out of shield. But there were some times where you would hit your shield with tipper down tilt, or non-tipper down tilt, my bad. Tipper down tilt is actually pretty hard to punish, but he would hit you with non-tipper down tilt, which he's using a lot in the set, basically like a worse version of most down tilt. And you can wave dash out of shield to grab that, and then obviously we just talked about what grab can do against Ivy, so... That's definitely a way that you might be able to find a couple more openings. Other than that, biggest thing that I covered in this VOD, and also that I saw in your gameplay, is that you treated Razor Leaf more or less like Falco lasers, where your main goal is either to just accept that you're going to get hit by it, or to avoid it entirely because you're not able to beat it out. But you definitely do have counterplay that you have to Razor Leaf that I didn't really see you using. You mostly just tried to not be on the same horizontal plane as it. But you have things like nair and back air that you can just straight up clank or beat it out. You also have the ability, if you're doing it at the level where he's short hopping, you can wave dash in and jab, and that will clank the Razor Leaf. And then as he's coming down, you can grab him. So that's a little micro interaction to keep in mind if he's throwing it at anything less than full range. Sorry about that. And Razor Leaf in general, the way Quaff was using it, and the way IVs tend to use it in general, is super vulnerable to being power shielded. All it takes is one power shield, and then you can wave dash in after it and get a grab, and that can set up to death super well. So from the IVs I've talked to who have played this matchup extensively, like Steel Kangaroo, they've said that power shielding Razor Leaf can absolutely be a deal maker in this matchup for the Ices player, because it allows them to make Razor Leaf less oppressive than it was in your set. It allows them to find their own openings off of it. So definitely just kind of things to keep in mind. Hopefully, this was from 2 months ago, so I don't know if you've played them since, but hopefully these suggestions help you work on your game a little bit against Ivy and take it from a close game 5 to taking home the set next time. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully everyone found it helpful.